My loves, good morning and happy autumn to those of you also in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm filming this in the first week of September. How we got here and how we got here alive and sane, I'll never know. Because it is September here in Italy, this week and next week are pretty much everyone returning to normal. Italy is one of the countries in Europe, very unlike Scotland or anything I'm used to, but there are kind of several countries in Europe, I believe, that essentially just kind of shut down for August, like goodbye, we're doing nothing, good luck. We did a little bit of very kind of budget travelling in and around this region of Italy and the kind of neighbouring region throughout August. Didn't really have the budget to go any further afield this year, but we saw some beautiful things in Verona, we saw some beautiful things at Lake Garda, we took some time to go to Venice when a friend visited, we've been to Treviso, we've been to Padua, we've been to lots of different kind of cities and areas around the Veneto region where we live, which has been really nice. So with today being his kind of first day back, it's very peaceful in here. It's very, very quiet in here, which is nice. And I'm planning just to get a few little things done. We need to nip out to buy some stuff later this afternoon, but this morning I have a little bit of baking to do, and I also desperately need to get back into planning the next podcast episode because we've had a little kind of month and a bit summer break that I didn't really plan for. It just happened. So I need to get back into the swing of things as of this week. So let's get started. Also, I feel like what we're baking today needs a slight disclaimer. I had a friend come to visit way back in like March of this year, and as a kind of half flat warming and thank you thing, they bought me some chocolate. Lovely, genuinely, wonderfully thoughtful. It's who I am, it's what I do. Now, I did one of those things where you think, okay, let me stow this away for future somewhere safe. Guess who put that somewhere so safe that I only remembered about it literally yesterday. Now, normally this would be absolutely no problem. You know, we have 3 chocolate bars here, but as I am fearful because of even the colour change in the wrapper of this bar, it has been consistently over 30 degrees both outside and inside this flat. How these will look when I open them, I have genuinely no idea. So I thought it might be fun for us to take these to the kitchen to open them up for both a little bit of tasting / science experiment, and if they're kind of too ugly and too distracting to eat plain, we're going to bake them into some cookie dough that I already made this morning. Shall we? First of all, okay, this one just opened itself. Honestly, it doesn't look as bad as it could. So this is the milk chocolate. You can see there's been a slight kind of, I'll bring you guys for a close-up in a second. You can see there's been a slight kind of colour change. It's looking more matte than it should. This basically happens when chocolate is exposed to kind of either too warm a temperature but not melting to liquid, or when temperature can fluctuate. Light and temperature can fluctuate around chocolate bars. Because of the way that they are tempered and stored, it can sometimes give that weird sort of fat bloom, which makes the chocolate go white and floury looking. It's still perfectly safe to eat, provided it's still within date and it doesn't smell, you know, radioactive. But this can happen to its appearance. It can just get this weird sort of white film on it, which just doesn't look particularly appetizing. Which is why I think it might be a perfect thing to bake into our cookies today. Let's get a closer look. So the milk chocolate doesn't look too bad. This is basically what it looks like. You can see there's been a little bit of a kind of texture change with the fat bloom here. But in terms of colour, even though it's lost a lot of shine, it doesn't look too kind of sus. Here. So this is on, I think this is the 50% bar. So this is a 52% chocolate bar. Nothing too dark, but nothing super light either. And look at the colour difference. This being the kind of colour it would have been before, this is probably where the wrapper was kind of sealed up against it. And you can just see the bloom of the sugar and the fat there, turning it to that weird sort of whitish colour. It doesn't look too bad on this side, but on this side you're kind of like, do I eat it? This one looks very similar. You can even see how the bloom has like differentiated between little squares of chocolate, and it looks particularly ugly on this side. The snap is still surprisingly good. It's going to sound terrible. Having now tasted it, I'm not that upset about having forgotten about it. Not bad, but certainly not like, wow, memorable. Good for baking and very little else. Something accidentally artsy about this. Anyway, let's get it inside our dough. Earlier this morning, I threw together this kind of mini batch of cookie dough. So it starts off just with a base of butter, brown and white sugar. The white sugar for texture and balance, the brown sugar for flavor and adding that kind of softness and also a beautiful color. I added some vanilla, I added an egg, and then I added some flour and a good handful of oats. So I added these kind of oats. These are we would call these jumbo oats in the UK, or at least in Scotland. They're kind of whole rolled oats, if that makes sense. Nothing too tiny, nothing like you'd see in kind of packet porridge or oatmeal, whatever you call it. And basically I wanted to try and make this chocolate chip oatmeal cookie because I've never had an oatmeal style cookie before, and I know they normally contain raisins, and raisins are too divisive, even if I'm someone who does like them. So we have this nice kind of stiff golden brown dough at the moment. I'm going to stir through our chocolate chunks, pop it back in the fridge to chill for like 20 minutes, and then I'm going to get baking. That's how you know she's a stiff old cookie dough. Dough ready for chilling. So aside from a couple of, nearby little vacation days throughout August, we've also decided that we really need to step up our kind of office game in this flat. So we've had a desk for a while, but it's not really, proper. We still have this, very old school chair that is unironically on its last legs. I really want to kind of treat myself to a monitor, to not be working from my laptop all the time. I would love this to be a nice kind of slightly more soundproof spot for recording any voiceovers or for recording the podcast and things like that. And while we're getting there, she's a little bit empty. I'm at that kind of time where I really need to replace this phone because I film and edit and record literally everything on this phone, and it's 5 to 6 years old, and it's getting to the point where not only am I ready to give up, so is the phone. So we need to kind of decide what's going to fit into the budget this year, because this winter is not looking particularly easy for anyone. So I'll keep you posted. So here are the first batch of cookie dough balls just going in. Oven is set to about 160 degrees, just because I don't want this particular kind of cookie to get too crisp around the edges, but let's see how we do. Good luck, my children. So I'm gonna head out in the next kind of half an hour to an hour to drop off some cookies with some friends, and also to pick up some stuff from the shop. A little bit of exercise, a little bit of vitamin D, you know the deal. But I need a very, very quick and lazy lunch first. So amongst the messy cooking chaos, I will clean up afterwards. I have some leftover rice from yesterday, and I'm literally just going to throw in some sun-dried tomatoes, some grilled aubergines and oil, and some chickpeas. Easy, relatively nutritious, and most importantly, lusciously lazy. With lunch out of the way, I think it's about time we tried one of these cookies. They're looking not too bad. Got a little bit carried away with trying to smooth out the chocolate, so we're just working with this very unintentional chocolatey smear, but they're looking nice. They're looking nice and kind of lacy, but also rough and bumpy, as oatmeal cookies should. Let's taste one of the ugly ones. We have an ugly, ugly not so much. It's just an oval when it, shouldn't be. But let's see how it is. You can see we have that lovely kind of soft texture in the middle. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but we have a lovely kind of cross section of oats, of chocolate, a little bit of crispiness on the edge. Let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah, these chocolate bars needed all the help they could get. Look at that cross section. Soft and gooey in the middle, crispy texture on the outside, chewiness from the oats. As a thank you for being here, I will post the full recipe in the description box below for you guys, because yum. Cookies cooled, ready to be transported. Let's finally get out of the house. Guys, I have had to just straight up stifle laughter in public because a woman behind me was shouting on her Jack Russell, and her Jack Russell was named Ragu. Really exciting purchases to be made today, as you can see. literally my best friend this entire summer. Groceries and other dull purchases made, and I have strategically placed a bag of frozen berries in the part pressing against my back to minimize the sweat. Don't call me a genius for nothing. We are back, and here's everything we got. We finally bought an iron because we don't have one, and we haven't had one for like the 6 months we've lived here. I don't iron my clothes. I don't iron my clothes. I got some mozzarella because I can't resist it. I got some butter because essential, even though expensive these days. Got some eggs. Got some of this super fancy like tortellini because it was on offer for like €1.50 with like prosciutto and pecorino. Got some chicken because it was on offer. No one needs to see those. Got some frozen berries. They're just handy to have for smoothies or throwing into porridge or whatever. Got some spätzle. This does have another name in Italy that I can't remember, but this is basically like a basil and spinach based pasta. It cooks in like 3 minutes and it's really nice. I got some just plain yogurt because I like it. I got this stuff. I may have spoken about this on the channel before. I'm a bit obsessed. I think it might be Croatian, but it's like this aubergine, pepper and chili stuff. It's like a paste or like a spread, but on sandwiches or even in pasta sauces. I bloody love it. Some oregano because we were out of it, and yeah, some more mosquito repellent because I don't know whether it's my blood or my skin, but they love me and I do not love them. And all of that for €33. So I dropped off all but 2 plus the one I ate of the cookies at Francesco's workplace and with some friends that we have there because they deserve it. They're working harder than me and they're working in the heat. So yeah, plus I can't eat all 10 or 12 by myself. Not in one day anyway. For now, I need to go and put all of this stuff away. I need to do some cleaning because this kitchen is still a mess from earlier on, and I need to go and do some podcast planning. Then think about dinner already. Lords and ladies, it's dinner time. Salad doesn't feel particularly inspiring, but I have a few things to use up, so it's feeling like a soup kind of night. Mostly inspired by yesterday's stale bread roll. Like it's stale and a little bit kind of hard, but not so solid that it's past the point of no return. A few seconds dunked in some soup will be perfect. I have some carrots, I have an onion to use, and I have some tin tomatoes buried somewhere in here. So let's make some soup.